Just 2 months after I joined the Alliance, and just after our last Heritage Day at the Tower of London, March saw the rise of COVID-19 and a rather abrupt move to a new way of working. Lockdown began, heritage sites shut, work on site mostly stopped, and we hoped it all might just last a couple of months. The expected March budget became a COVID-19 budget, with furlough, support for the self-employed, and a range of business support. Our advocacy went into overdrive. Both the Alliance and Heritage 2020 groups held many emergency meetings to develop strategies and key asks, and the Alliance worked directly with the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, the Minister, and the fantastic Heritage team to give feedback from the sector as quickly as possible. Little did we know what the next year would hold.
April was not the spring any of us were expecting. Almost all heritage sites were closed, including outdoor spaces. The Heritage Alliance worked with cross-sector networks to clarify guidance and push for COVID recovery. Emergency funds were announced, including those from the National Lottery Heritage Fund, Historic England and the Arts Council.
In May, we had some better news. An announcement of lockdown coming to a close meant that places could begin to look at reopening. Sector guidance was produced and we had success with advocacy on funding support and reopening, with gardens at paid-for attractions being allowed to reopen for visitors. In the meantime, mask wearing became the norm and the furlough scheme was extended through to July. May also saw the Cultural Renewal Task Force established by DCMS, with Neil Mendoza appointed as Cultural Commissioner, and the Heritage Working Group was finalised.
The stands at York Racecourse lay largely silent and empty last year, but in June there was renewed optimism. DCMS published guidelines for working and volunteering in heritage locations, and towards the end of the month, museums, heritage attractions across England were able to reopen. This was crucial in terms of generating income over the summer period and enabling the public to come and appreciate and enjoy all the heritage sector has to offer to enhance their well-being.
In July, there's a small window of optimism as DCMS announced the £1.57 billion Cultural Recovery Fund. Some sites are able to reopen with social distancing measures in place. Staycationing and holidays are possible, and small weddings can start happening again. We launched the Heritage Digital Portal, funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund.
It's quite fitting to be in the beautiful spa town of Tunbridge Wells, a fashionable holiday resort to talk about August. Some of us managed to go on holiday, and the British public did too. And everyone dined in style thanks to the Eat Out Help Out scheme, which supported many heritage sites. But it was an all play, as many heritage organisations prepared application for the first round of Cultural Recovery Fund, for which we ran a support session at the Heritage Alliance. And that leads me to say a big thank you to our affiliate members for giving their time and their expertise to our membership this year.
September saw the launch of a number of key publications. Here at the Heritage Alliance, we published reports on the fiscal and funding priorities for the sector, and also on the contribution that heritage can make to our collective well-being. Over at the National Trust, the Colonialism and Historic Slavery report detailed the findings of the important and necessary research being done by the Trust into the history of its collections and properties. September also brought us the Rule of Six. As COVID cases began to rise, and we slid towards ever more stringent lockdown measures again, this time we were ready for it, with the launch of our Rebuilding Heritage programme to provide support to the sector in these challenging times.
October was a busy month for the sector. We saw the launch of the Heritage at Risk Register from Historic England, the first round of the Cultural Recovery Fund being awarded, and also at this point during October half-term, heritage sites and museums were open. From the HEV team side, Task Group 2 coordinated a sector-wide social media activity day under the Heritage Now banner, where we came together and celebrated the value of heritage. In HEV, we also officially transitioned over to our new structure following the wind down of the Heritage 2020 project.
November brings a second national lockdown as cases continue to rise. This month, the Rebuilding Heritage programme is able to step in and deliver training and support. We also hold our annual heritage debate, this time focused around the role of young people in the future of heritage. The Fisheries and Agriculture Bill become acts, and we continue our advocacy on the problematic Environment Bill. DCMS this month also publishes new guidelines on the export and import of cultural items post-Brexit, and there's a tailored review of Historic England, which has a renewed focus on diversity and inclusion.
December 2020, and the spending review was launched and focused on recovery. Christmas is cancelled, although religious buildings are generally able to open. The first person in the UK was vaccinated against COVID, and the EU transition period ends, and Brexit is real.
In January 2021, we entered into national lockdown again, with school closures and homeschooling returning. With this in mind, Rebuilding Heritage focused their webinars on well-being with the series Finding Time. The Cultural Recovery Fund Round 2 was open, and lots of bidding happened this month. The EU transition period ended, and the impacts of Brexit started to become apparent, with the Alliance and the Historic Environment Forum gathering evidence of this and collecting guidance to support the sector.
February 2021 saw some cautious optimism. As the vaccine rollout really began to take off, the heritage sector published the Heritage Recovery Plan, and the Prime Minister published his roadmap to recovery, which disappointed some but is still a route out of COVID. There was also, bringing us full circle, a new Heritage Minister, Caroline Dinenage, who we welcome, and a COVID-focused budget, which saw the third round of the Culture Recovery Fund. So here's to the rest of 2021. May it be full of heritage and culture.